Hi there, I'm Neil W. Schofield. This is a video posting in response to John Hastings' rant about bad neighbors. I have to say, first of all, it was very funny. The letter you composed, John, totally outrageous. Sure not sure about the fagbot issue, though. I kind of have to think about that one a little bit. Anyways, I'm here to make a rant of my own about a bad neighbor we've been having some experiences with lately. And I want to share it with you YouTube viewers because maybe in this you can recognize some problems that you've faced. So here we go. This neighbor, for almost the last year now, has been having a sort of off and on battle with my wife and I, where we currently live, over ridiculous things. I install a fire pit, we try it out. The neighbor calls the police up and says there's a loud party here when there's actually only two people. Um, I'm not sure how that's supposed to work. Just as an example, we're burning garbage in our woodshed, so the Department of the Environment gets called. They come over and realize there's no garbage here and there's nothing burnt, except maybe the neighbor. I don't know how to say this exactly, but this person, I think, is crying out for help in some way. They're stressed because they have children and an elderly relative to look after, and that can be difficult at times. Sometimes maybe it can be well nigh impossible trying to juggle all of these things going on. Now, at present, this neighbor is trying to take my wife and I to court to have peace bonds issued against us. Now, my wife and I are in no way going to take part in this. We're not going to simply not going to sign any peace bonds. We have no need. Also, we have been accused of being a potential hazard to this person's property and to their personal well-being. Ridiculous. We don't have the time. We have this house to look after, which was my late grandmother's, and which I am determined to keep in good shape, because it is our home. We also have jobs. I work regularly 5 or 6 days a week. My wife babysits, as she also does other things for other people, including an elderly person. In addition, we both have friends who we hang out with on a regular basis. We simply don't have the time to be sitting around thinking of ways to get even with other people. Oh, I know it's tempting, to be sure. We're only human, and I'm not going to say that we're without our flaws. Far from it. But the thing is, we have both, my wife and I, decided that this person is simply not worth our time and effort to get involved with. For all practical purposes, this person does not exist. And when the time comes that we go to court, my wife has already been there once and has found it rather upsetting. We are simply going to allow the judge to know that, for all practical purposes, we cannot honor a peace bond from someone who, to us, doesn't exist. As I stated before, and I'll state again, we simply do not have the time for this business. We've got too much more going on with our lives than to sit around and bother somebody else. We'll help other people, yes, to a degree. But after they've proven that they're not worthy of that help, well, the user-friendly light is going to get switched off and stay off until at such time as they can prove they're worthy of it again. And that's what this neighbor's situation is right now. I believe that it's a call for help from them. I believe that they're very stressed about the situation that they're having to live under, and that they're very tired about it mentally and emotionally. Their behavior is almost hysterical, in my opinion. You don't simply just go out and slap a peace bond on someone without some solid proof to back things up. My wife's been accused of giving their kids the finger or uttering curses at them. I myself have been accused of going onto their property unannounced, interfering with their garbage while it's sitting out on the curb, by the way, 100% legal for somebody to come along and pick up. Not sure how that works, but in this part of the world, the bylaws do state that. I believe in the long term this person really does need to get some sort of regular activity. They need to get help. Now, please understand, I'm not trying to make a judgment here against them. This is only what I have observed. In the past, they have made calls against us and have called various departments like the police, fire department, environmental services. And in the majority of those calls, there was no reason for them to have any citations against us or any tickets made. For example, I put a fire pit in, and our neighbor calls the police and the fire department that we're burning garbage, which is garbage because all we're burning is wood, plain and simple. Now, you might be wondering at this point, what the hell is this guy going on about? Good question. Here's the answer. In sharing this with you, you may recognize elements in this that apply to you as a person. Perhaps you have or have had neighbors in the past who at some point or other have been a pain in your backside, and no amount of preparation H you have on hand is going to remove the swelling. And this is the case in here with us, my wife and I. We simply don't want anything to do with this neighbor for the fact that, to us, they're not worth getting involved in. They have way too much time on their hands to be spiteful and manipulative towards us. And, unfortunately, from what we've heard in the neighborhood from other people, they're not the sort of person we want to get to know. That's kind of sad when you have that kind of an endorsement or lack of endorsement from others in the same community you have to live in. It's very sad indeed. To all practical purposes, to my wife and I, this person simply does not exist in our books. Therefore, we are not going to honor a peace bond from this person because why honor a peace bond from someone who, logically, doesn't exist? Anyways, that's my rant for today. Thank you all for taking the time to watch. I'm Neil W. Schofield. See you around again.